Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hindu Rashtra, my dear friends and like-minded people, my dear co-Sanatanis, we are starting another episode. Before I go ahead with this, I would like to share my observation of the last, say, 30 years or so of my stay in India. See, I have seen that, in those first years of my life in the country, specifically some communal-minded people belonging to the minority communities would relentlessly attack Hindu practices verbally. Critically, they would try to make fun of it. Some of the practices, some of the images of Hindu deities, etc. Very often, I understand that with all the peaceful mind of the Hindus, very often they were more than reluctant to retaliate verbally to this. They would decline, they would probably walk out of any kind of debate on that, which I think was not exactly the correct reaction. Of late, in the last few years, we can see this Hindu consciousness rising by the day, and it is a very promising sign. Now, see, Sanatani people take note that their tradition, their practices, their culture is being critically attacked with some third-rate criticism, especially by communally minded Muslims and Christians, and the need to argumentatively fight back for Sanatan Dharma is certainly need of the hour. This is my humble effort to give some of, in my opinion, important bits of factual information which will make you much more capable of a debate with any communal-minded Christian or Muslim. Probably you, in the best scenario, you will be able to mop the floor with them in the argument. So very cool and very well factually supported reply to such third-rate criticism, to such verbal attacks on Sanatani tradition is very important. Fighting communal-minded representatives of these Abrahamic cults is my probably second most favorite time pass after heavy metal music, and I have gained some experience of getting to hear their argumentation. Most of the time it is pretty repetitive, and finding the right kind of answers to their attacks. I will share one of these points with you today. Hence, our today's episode is called "In Dog We Trust," and it has a reason. See, very often, especially arrogant Christians try to make fun of the way some Hindu gods are portrayed. Suppose Ganeshji, they make fun of. They said, "What is this? What sort of god you have with the elephant's head? Don't you think it is ridiculous?" In fact, these most of these Christians, overwhelming majority of them, are blissfully unaware that this weird tradition of having, say, saints with animalistic head is very much present in Christianity itself. As an example, I'll give you one very much worshipped, respected, and one of the earliest Christian saints, who is believed to have lived in 3rd or 4th century, whose name was Christophorus Cynocephalus. In fact, Cynocephalus means dog-headed, and the Christian icons, the objects of Christian prayers, depicted him exactly with the head of a dog. Here you can see some of the pictures which speak for themselves. So Christian tradition, the tradition of those people, some of them are very arrogant, very insulting towards the Hindu tradition of depicting Ganeshji and probably other deities, like say Narasimha, right? Half lion, half human, and other deities. They comfortably forget, or they are blissfully unaware about their own phantasmagorical traditions of their own worship, of their own religious practices. I should say that this, particularly this saint, was so popular in Europe that even Christopher Columbus, the guy who's credited with the discovery of the New World, which was later known as America, had the same name, Christopher. Actually, apparently, his parents or clergy, whatever, named him after that dog-headed saint. Now, to be impartial, we should admit that this tradition of phantasmagorical depiction of deities or saints is very common across many cultures. You can see Anubis, the ancient Egyptian god, was with the dog's head. In fact, some of the scholars suggest that early Christianity tried to accommodate those cults into it. It helped its proselytarian efforts to have such saints which would resemble God Anubis or other pre-Christian tradition gods. Could be, could not be. It is probably difficult to make the final judgment. Yes, you can see this across many traditions, and Christianity is very much deep into it. It has its own weird, illogical, phantasmagorical, as I said, stuff. There is no rhyme and reason to be particularly arrogant. Why I'm citing this example of the dog-headed Christophorus? Because it is mostly from some of the brainwashed minds, brainwashed by Christian missionary education, that this idea comes that Christianity, so they say, is the most logical, is the most kind of sane and adequate kind of modern religion. Reality is exactly opposite. Christianity is filled with some of the weirdest beliefs, some of the weirdest practices, and absolutely incompatible with critical thinking, with logic, with reason. Coming back to our favorite dog-headed Christophorus Cynocephalus, there was in one of the churches, I think in Italy, they preserved a giant tooth, which was believed to belong to this saint. They worshipped it, they kept it in the reliquarium, it was an object of worship. Much later, as late as 18th century, some of the scientists, naturalists, convincingly proved that this is the tooth of a hippopotamus. And after that, the church, confronted with the scientific evidence with a lot of embarrassment, removed this from the reliquarium and banned any kind of worship of that, fake tooth. Similarly, again, very late, probably a couple of centuries back, not earlier, Christianity tried to make an effort to repaint those icons where this saint was actually shown with the head of a dog. They tried to make him look more human, and kind of, they started feeling some kind of embarrassment about it, but it came much later. And with the harsh criticism, many bright European minds made good fun of this, particularly this dog-headed saint, including Dante. He's one of the harsh critics of this practice. So, summarizing this all, weird practices, weird beliefs is what Christianity is abundant with, and it gives no moral right to some of the communally minded adepts of this cult to be particularly venomous about their criticism of Sanatani practices, Sanatani deities, and Sanatani belief system. So this is one short piece of argumentation for today, which hopefully my co-Sanatanis will find practical, we will find useful to repel certain attacks from the followers of Abrahamic cults in the argument. So this is a short narration, this is a very short episode which we called In Dog We Trust. Thank you very much for the attention. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hindu Rashtra.